Okay, I'm on a timescale with filming this, so luckily this is like a fairly small haul for me, but I might be speeding through things. Enjoy. Hi everyone, my name's Chloe, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here today. Today's video is going to be my September book haul. I'm not going to tell you what one of these videos are, you know, I'm just going to talk you through the books that I acquired during the month of September. It's slightly smaller than usual for me. I mean, there's still like at least 10 books here, but some months I have 20 plus, so we're doing okay. Let's just talk through what I managed to get. I will say it may be small because Waterstones are taking their time in sending things, but I'm not joining in with those rants because customer service team are working hard. I do feel for them. Anyway, let's just talk about what I did get this month. The first one I don't need to speak about too much because I've already hauled 2 copies of it. You all know this book by now. It's Babel by R.F. Kuang. This is the Fairyloot version. This is a dark academia. This is set in Oxford. It's all about language and colonialism. It's my favourite book I've read this year. Possibly my favourite book of all time. Who knows at this point. But this is a beautiful copy. It is a different like colour palette than the original one. It's a lighter grey, whereas the original one is darker. I'm not too sure how I feel about the gold with the lighter colour. I feel like this book is very silver to me, like the whole point of the magic system is silver work, but I still like it anyway. We then have got the picture of Babel. That's what's on the Illumicrate slipcase that I hauled last month. We have some stunning artwork on the end papers. So we have Letty and Victoire on here, and then on the back we will have Rami and Robin. I love these characters with my whole heart, so I'm very happy about that. It is signed by the author, and also the best bit, we've got those digitally printed edges which are just stunning. Like, you've all seen them at this point, I'm sure, but look how pretty. Speaking of pretty edges, we then have got Wolfsong by TJ Klune. This is a re-release. It was published quite a while ago, like the full series is out at this point, but it's now been picked up by a traditional publisher. So we have a nice hardback. I don't really know too much about the synopsis of this. I'm not going to read it to you too because I don't really want to know too much of the synopsis. I just know that I've liked other TJ Klune books that I've read. I've read 3 of them now and I've liked all 3. This is one of Gem's favourite series. She keeps being on at people to read it. So of course I was going to buy the special edition so that I can read it and hopefully love it as much as she does. So the special edition parts of this we have got signed by the author and then pretty edges, which I'm very happy about. The only thing that's annoying is that this is bigger than the other TJ Klune books I have. Although it might line up with Extraordinaries, I'm not sure. Because like, I've got House in the Cerulean Sea and Under the Whispering Door that are shorter. And then I've got Extraordinaries and Flashfire I need to get heat with that are taller, so I think it might fit in with them, but it is just annoying that you've got those other like B format ones. But let's stop ranting, I need to be quick. The next one that I got is another pre-order, and this is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I really enjoy Taylor Jenkins Reid books. I've read Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones, Malibu Rising, and now I'll be reading this one. This is set in the same world as all of them. Like, they're not, you don't have to read all of them to like know what's going on, but they do have characters that interact. This one is about a tennis player, and that is about all I know. It's about all I need to know. I'm a really big fan of tennis anyway, so a book set in the tennis world really intrigues me. I believe this one links more directly to Malibu Rising out of all of them, but we've got the tennis court on the end papers, which is cute. It is, again, a signed copy, and I was supposed to try and read this in September, and then I slumped and I did not get around to it, but hopefully I will actually read it soon because I've just got visions of it being one now that I end up putting on my shelves and not getting around to for a while, which is annoying because it was one of my most anticipated releases, but it was also one that got delayed. It came like a couple of weeks after it was supposed to come, so that's kind of why it got pushed out of my reading plans, but at least I have it now. That's the main thing. We then have 2 books that I picked up in Waterstones on a buy one get one half price offer. So the first one being the new Karen M. McManus book, Nothing More to Tell. This one says, A Body in the Woods, a cold case turned hot, a story to die for. Basically, from what I can tell from the synopsis on the back, the main character leaves the school that she's at after a teacher is found murdered, and it's believed that the students that found the teacher's body know a little bit more about what happened than they've let on. It's now years later and she is working on a popular true crime show, and she decides to investigate what really happened through that show. And yeah, we'll see. I am a bit funny with thrillers, but I tend to like the Karen M. McManus ones. I do still have her last one to read as well, though. I've read like 4, I think, at this point, and I think this is the 6th one that she's got out. So yeah, they don't follow on from each other. There's only like 2 that actually do. But I like to read in publication order. But also it is like the good time of year to read mystery thrillers and things. So maybe I'll read the one that came out last year this year and then eventually get to this one. The other book I got on that deal was Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. So this, I believe, is about two teenagers who run the Twitter accounts for their family businesses that are in competition with each other. And it's about their sort of like banter back and forth and the romance that's going to ensue from there. It kind of sounds like a You've Got Mail type situation with it being like competing businesses, but they obviously are going to have a romance, which that sounds great to me. I love that film. So yeah, I'm excited for this. I believe that Meg really enjoys this one, so that's also making me more excited for it. It's one I've had my eye on for a while, but it's only just got a UK publisher, hence why it was on the buy one get one half price in Waterstones. And yeah, hopefully we'll be reading this soon. It might be like more next year though, because it feels more summery. I don't know why, it just feels like a summery book. Then I got my pre-order of The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. This one I will be reading this month. It is on my Royal Readathon TBR. This is a sequel to Once Upon a Broken Heart. I will never give you a synopsis of this because I stand by the fact that even if you know some of the main characters from this, it can spoil the Caraval trilogy. All I will say, it's about a character called Evangeline Fox. She ends up making some deals that she maybe shouldn't have, all to do with like saving the boy that she loves. And yeah, things go from there. Like, so much has happened since then. We've only had one book so far, but I really, really enjoyed the first one in this series. I loved the Caraval trilogy when I read it, and I was very excited for this big series because one of the characters from Caraval that's in this is one of my favourites. So, and the first one did not disappoint. I loved that first book. So I'm hoping that the second one is good. It has just been announced recently that there is going to be a third one in this series. Prior to publication, Stephanie Garber wouldn't confirm if it was a duology or a trilogy, and has now confirmed it's a trilogy because she's realised that she needs to actually tell people that so that they're like excited and know that the third one's going to come out. Because otherwise, if you think this is the duology and then just finish it, you're not going to be on the lookout for the third one. It may not have been the best marketing technique, but she has now tweeted that there is going to be a third one and has asked people to spread the word about it. So there you go. And I'm glad I know that before going into it, in all fairness, because I'm expecting a middle book now rather than expecting an ending to something, because it'd have been very disappointing if I was expecting things to wrap up and then I'm like, oh no, I've still got more to come. So I like that I know that. And yeah, I will be reading this month. Every first printing in the UK does have a pretty foiling underneath the hardcover, and I got the one with the flowers, which I'm quite happy about. The one that I got on the first one wasn't my favourite. This was one of the two options that I really wanted from this one, so I'm happy. And I still have another copy of this on its way when Fairyloot sends theirs out, so yeah. Speaking of Fairyloot, the next one I got was the September YA book. So if you haven't got your box yet, I feel like most people have at this point, but if you haven't, look away maybe for like the next minute or so. But the book was Belladonna by Adeline Grace. So this one, I again know very little about. It says, your name is no curse, little bird, I just like the taste of it. That sounds intriguing on the back. Let me see, is it a long synopsis? For as long as Signa Farrow has been alive, the people in her life have fallen like stars. Orphaned as a baby, 19-year-old Signa has been raised by a string of guardians, each more interested in her wealth than her well-being, and each has met an untimely end. Her remaining relatives are the elusive Hawthorns, an eccentric family living at Thorn Grove, an estate both glittering and gloomy. Its patriarch mourns his late wife through wild parties, while his son grapples for control of the family's waning reputation, and his daughter suffers from a mysterious illness. But when their mother's restless spirit appears claiming she was poisoned, Signa realises that the family she depends on could be in grave danger, and enlists the help of a surly stable boy to hunt down the killer. Signa's best chance of uncovering the murder, though, is an alliance with Death himself, a fascinating, dangerous shadow who has never been far from her side. Though he's made her life a living hell, Death shows Signa that their growing connection may be more powerful and more irresistible than she ever dared imagine. That sounds intriguing. I have been really intrigued by this book. I keep looking at it in bookshops and then going, do not pick that up, you know that's coming in Fairyloot. So I'm happy that I have it. It is a pretty edition. This is a darker cover than it normally is. It's more like a lilac, it's more like a lilac tone, I believe, the original one. It has got these frayed edges. For once, Fairyloot has done a purple book and it actually like fits in with it, because they do have a love of purple, but this one is like, it makes sense. We then have got pretty end papers. It is signed. Oh, there are more pretty end papers on the back. And then we have this beautiful under the dust jacket printed on the book itself. It's very pretty. So yeah, excited to read this one. And again, it does fit for this time of year. I didn't get any of these on my October TBR and I'm a little bit silly. Okay, then we have one that I actually had ordered from Waterstones, but then they were taking a long time to send out. So I ended up cancelling the order because I saw it in store, and I ended up getting one of the other books that was in the order from somewhere else, which you'll see in a minute. And part of the reason I cancelled is because I'd ordered the standard edition online because they'd sold out of the exclusive. And then when I went in store, they had the exclusive. So I'm like, well, I might as well buy that. Also, I had some points to use, so I got it cheaper. It was a good time. And that is Foul Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. This is a new series set in the same world as These Violent Delights, which was a Romeo and Juliet retelling. It follows one of the characters from that book. Again, I don't necessarily want to tell you who, because it then kind of tells you that they do survive to the end of the story, which maybe you shouldn't know. But basically, it's set 4 years after that. It's set in 1931, and it says that the Japanese Imperial Army is beginning its march. And a series of murders is causing unrest in Shanghai. The Japanese are under suspicion. I'm trying to like read the synopsis without saying the character's name. New orders are to infiltrate foreign society and identify the culprits behind the terror plot before more of her people are killed. To reduce suspicion, she must pose as the wife of another nationalist spy, Orion Hong, although insert name here, finds Orion's cavalier attitude and playboy demeanour infuriating. She's willing to work with him for the greater good, but Orion has an agenda of his own, and she has secrets that she wants to keep buried. As they both attempt to unravel the conspiracy, the two spies soon find that there are deeper and more horrifying layers to this mystery than they ever imagined. It actually sounds interesting. The only thing I will say is that the character this follows I didn't love in the main series, but I'm hoping in their own book you may like them a little bit more. Obviously, when you've seen it from a different person's perspective, it can make a big difference. So yeah, excited about it. But also, this is a pretty exclusive version. I've got this underneath it, which says Codename Fortune, because that is the characters. I could have just said that. That is the character's code name, so I could have just called them Fortune throughout the entire thing. Anyway, I've got 2 books left to talk about. Let's do this. Okay, so the other one on the Waterstones order that I ended up cancelling because I got it from Amazon. I don't love buying books from Amazon, but sometimes you have to because there was no way I was missing out on this, and it is a limited edition. It is This Savage Song by V. Schwab. Yes, I already own this book. Yes, I've already read it. I've read it twice, actually. I love this book. This is set in a world where basically violence creates monsters. So they're within the city that is set. You've got sort of 2 sides. So you've got the side that's run by like a crime lord type person who is sort of letting the monsters do what they want as long as they pay him off for it. And within that side, you've got Kate, who is the daughter of said crime boss. And then on the other side, you've got August, who just really wants to be like human and good-hearted, but there may be a little bit more to that than meets the eye. They're both basically trying to take after their fathers. Kate wants to be like this ruthless person, and August wants to be a good person, and their lives intersect in this book. Obviously they do, and there is so much more that happens from there, and it's so well written, it's so beautiful. Like, V. Schwab is amazing, we all know this, but this one is a little bit underrated. Like, it's not one that people talk about too much. I remember when I first started watching booktube videos, I heard about it a lot, but then it's kind of got pushed aside for like Dark Shade of Magic and for Ade, which is understandable, but I'm very happy that this is getting its moment with a special edition. Basically in the UK they've now released a hardcover so that it's matching more of her newer releases, because this is one of the only ones that I don't have in hardcover yet. So there's this one, obviously the sequel to it, and then also the Archived and Unbound series. So they're the only ones other than like her Middle Grade and Everyday Angel that aren't released in this sort of format, so it's nice that I'm able to complete my collection with one that I really love. Also, look at those edges. Look, there's a whole thing about tally marks in this book, so when I saw those edges I'm like, yes, this is perfect. And it goes all the way around as well, which is fantastic. And the end papers are pretty. And then there's a violin on the front. There's a whole thing to do with music in this as well. And yeah, can you see why I was excited to this and why I didn't want to miss out on it? And then last but not least, we have the adult Fairyloot book for September. So again, this is a more recent one that's arrived, so if you haven't got your adult Fairyloot book, maybe turn off now. This is the last book I'm going to show, but I will be showing it. So it is Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. I, again, know very little of this one. I'm going to have to read you the synopsis. Emery Blackwood's life was forever changed on the eve of her high school graduation, when the love of her life, August Salt, was accused of murdering her best friend Lily. She'd once dreamt of running away with August, eager to escape the misty remote shores of Saoirse Island and chase new dreams together. Now she's doing what her teenage self swore she never would, living a quiet existence among the tight-knit communities steeped in folklore and tradition, ruled by the seasons and ancient ancient superstitions. But when August returns after 14 years to bury his mother's ashes, Emery must confront her first love and the reasons he left so abruptly. But the town wants August gone again, and as the island begins to show signs of strange happenings, the emergence of deep betrayals and hidden promises threatens to reveal the truth behind Lily's death once and for all. I don't really know if I'm intrigued by this one, but it's a pretty edition. Like, so that's the cover. And then we've got the fireworks that go all the way around. It's nice to see Fairyloot doing some stuff for their adult books. It's 2 months in a row now. We've actually got not just like black sprayed edges. We've also got this underneath. It feels like they've suddenly decided to put the money into this subscription. And which is understandable, obviously, when they plan these things quite far in advance. And when they started doing it, they probably didn't know if it was going to be popular. And now that they know that their subscription is popular, they can put a bit more money into it. And it's nice to see that that is actually happening. Hopefully that continues. So I finished filming this and then about an hour later realised that I'd forgot a book. Because of course I did. I forgot the Illuma crate for this month. So again, if you haven't received your Illuma crate, maybe look away. But to be honest, if you looked at what the theme of this month was, you knew straight away what book it was. It is The Book Eaters by Sonia Dean. I'm really excited for this one. It's another one that I kept looking at in the shops and then going, I should buy that, and then thinking no, because it's coming in a subscription box. Because like I said, the theme for Illuma Crate this month was a book devourers. Like, could not have been more obvious. This is a redesigned cover. It's a different colour than what the original one is. It's got the pretty like stenciled edges that look a bit like the Gallant ones, but we're going to ignore that it looks exactly the same. It's got end papers, and then look at this beautiful naked hardback. It's not working well for me showing you, but it's so pretty. I believe it is signed as well. Yes, it is. And let's give you the synopsis. It says, hidden across England and Scotland live 6 old book-eater families. The last of their lines, they exist on the fringes of society and subsist on a diet of stories and legends. Children are rare and their numbers have dwindled. So when Devon Fairweather's second child is born a dreaded mind-eater, a perversion of her own kind, who consumes not stories but the minds and souls of humans, she flees before he can be turned into a weapon for the family, or worse. Living among humans and finding prey for her son, Devon seeks a cure for his hunger, but time is running out for her family want her back, and with every soul her son consumes, he loses a little more of himself. This sounds really, really good. And it sounds like something that I should have put on my October TBR, but I didn't. But there we go. That is actually the last book that I got during the month of September. So I'll pass you back to Chloe, who already filmed the ending for this video. I did try and hold up all the books that I've hauled, but I've just dropped them. So I'm just going to hold up like a pile of them so I can do a thumbnail. There we go. This is some of the books that I hold in the month of September. That is pretty much everything. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff down below. Let me know what your favourite, prettiest book is that you hold during this month. And I'll see you guys next time with a new video. Bye.